Greetings, non-Western art appreciation class. I hope you're doing fantastically well. I come to you from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean from where we are, right here in Central Africa, where a lot of the African slave trade actually came out and brought the Congo, the Bakongo way of life. Up here is Nigeria, which we talked about the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Fon people, the other major areas where slave trade actually came from. So we're right in this area, all the way going down from basically Cameroon to Angola. That's what we're looking at today. The dominant feature here, as you can see, is this giant, once you get inland, is this giant river, which is the Congo River, and its many deltas and tributaries. And right in the middle is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, one of the most problematic areas that we've had in the world. Basically, the African World War has gone on here. We have had a quieting down recently, but had gone on for the better part of 7 to 10 years, depending upon where in the Congo. Rwanda never ended. Rwanda's right here. Rwanda never ended. Actually, the violence that was taking place here really destabilized the Democratic Republic of the Congo as they fought over. So unfortunately, this is known as the rape capital of the world in recent memory, which is a terrible kind of misnomer that shows up, but probably pretty accurate because rape was used as a weapon of war within this area. Today, we're going to look at the highlights as well as we've just talked about some of the negative aspects that show up as we have to look at it, the total human condition as we look at it within the process. I bring you, though, it's one of my favorite places to visit, particularly actually over here in the Republic of the Congo, which used to be part of the Congo and split. This is also formerly known as Zaire. So if you've ever heard that name before, that's referencing this area as well. Now, this area, as we go to look at, you'll note is filled, this area right here, with really, this is our tropical rainforest area of Africa. And so this is one of my favorite groups I've ever worked with, actually, is the Mbuti, M-B-U-T-I, that I'll show you in a moment, and sometimes referred to as the pygmy, the shorter stock individuals that live and are able to navigate through this area. Now, the Ituri tropical rainforest is one of the great areas within the world. It is under attack from everything from mineral mining operations. There are a lot of mines up in here, to the idea of deforestation for hardwood to make paper and other elements that show up. Traditionally, the people lived pretty close in the harmony because there was a small population, but the population recently has really started to expand. And with global trade, many of these resources are trying to be exploited by the outside world and for the outside world with exploitation that shows up. One of the most famous creatures then that you may have not even heard of before, some of you, is an okapi, which is known as the fourth giraffe. Ironically, it is more closely related to a giraffe. The head shape, the tongue that actually comes out about 12 inches. A giraffe can come out to 18 inches, but it really does hide, and they move around so silently. It's very, very rare to even see these. So, but this is called an okapi, O-K-A-P-I, if you've never heard of it before. The Mbuti of the Ituri rainforest, they live in the Central African Republic, and the individuals live in these houses. They're very temporary shelters. They basically are migratory, still hunter-gatherers that will wander in different aspects. They live in very small groupings. Sometimes the groupings can be as small as 50 to 100, or as large as 50 to 100 people, but as small as 20 or 30 individuals as they go to get established. And as they wander around, they hunt and feed off of what's actually here in the rainforest. So whereas I look at this and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. There might only be an okapi here, which is a beautiful animal to see. I'd be worried about snakes and poison and frogs and all sorts of other things, leopards, lions, things that could be hidden and lurking, waiting to take me out. And that should be a perspective, because I don't know what I'm looking for and unless I go actually in with one of these hunters who actually could take me in. I actually spent a weekend with the Mbuti, actually, in basically a hut that looks just like this, where you would actually crawl in. You can see actually they're very small in terms of kind of the size of the population, but man, are their hearts big. The other thing that's amazing about the society, it's almost a completely egalitarian society, which is almost unheard of in the history of mankind, where men and women basically have equal but opposite roles within the part. If someone wants to start singing or playing music, everyone can sing and start playing music. And the whole point of singing or playing music in this part of the world is to wake the forest spirits up, to make them alive, to make them know that there is a human present around, that we actually want to see their spiritual essence. So it's a pretty cool thing that shows up. So let me listen. I'll let you listen to some of this. You're going to hear the same couple of words over and over. These are the words to wake the spirit force up. So it's highly repetitive. We're using
the Rainforest of Cameroon lies the home of the Baka Pygmies.
So the Baka are another group that have actually made international fame by using synthesizers and other music and home guitar to actually make their chants into a fairly popular music throughout Central Africa. They also live in the Ituri Rainforest.
Musician Martin Craddock has been visiting the Baka since 1992. Since then, their music and energy inspired him to create the band Baka Beyond. Using royalties from their records, the charity Global Music Exchange was formed to give something back to the Baka for their inspiration.
So I'm going to go back and actually share that screen, but I did want to play the music over and over for you. So we'll go to the next slide so we can actually talk a little bit about some of the artwork, which of course all has to be transportable art form.
The Baka love to dance and love to play music. It's all.
See if I can't get this to stop for a moment.